Evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are watching us from. I'm your regular host, Comfort Eyitayo for Connect with Comfort show. On this program, we aim to add value to people on business enterprise and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature special guests who are subject matter experts that will throw more insight into the topic of the day. I am glad that you are able to join us today. You are most welcome. Our topic for discussion today is on the intriguing topic, secrets of super brands. In a world inundated with countless products and services vying for our attention, certain brands manage to rise above the noise, capturing our loyalty, admiration, and often our hearts. Today, we would like to examine what makes some brands tick, or what we call super brands. We examine the hidden strategies, the innovative approaches, and the distinct philosophies that propel them to success. From the iconic logo to unforgettable marketing campaigns, these brands wield a power that goes beyond mere consumption. They become part of our cultural fabric, shaping our preferences and perception in profound ways. So let us look into the secret and learn some lessons behind their successes so that we can, on our own, create super brands for ourselves through the insight that our guest will be sharing with us today. So please remain connected as we'll go on a short break right now. We'll be back. Thank you.
Being relevant in your field of occupation is proof that you are properly educated. When my parents and I were thinking about my university education, Bowen University Iwo was our first choice. Bowen University helps you to get the most of whatever course you're studying and also educates you on how to excel in a competitive labor market. From the day I arrived here, I knew when I would graduate. and my mind has been positively transformed since then, thanks to my able lecturers. My name is Salome. I am a medical student, a sanctuary keeper, and a violinist at Boma University. To the medical world, remember my name.
Bowen University, for excellence and godliness.
You're welcome back. Our guest, who is already with us in the house, is Oluwadamilola Soyombo Ujo. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, cum educator, with over 8 years experience working in the technology environment. Throughout her career, she has worked with founders, VC-backed startups, global tech giants, and others to create industry-leading products which have helped to raise millions of dollars. Dami is the founder and CEO of Schools, an e-learning platform focused on providing African children with access to technology and creative courses at a young age. She is also the director of TCK Zone, an NGO reaching out to underserved children in rural communities and training them in digital skills at no cost. She is a UK Global Talent, United Nations WSA Global Champion 2023, Mastercard Women SME Leader 2022, amongst others. Please join me in making welcome our special guest for today's topic, Oluwadamilola Soyombo Ujo. Dami, you are welcome to Connect with Comfort. We are glad to have you again, and thank you for making yourself available at all times when we request for your time to share insights on very important topics that our audience can learn from. Thank you very much. You are welcome.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here always. Thank you.
Thank you. So without much ado, we go straight to our interview segment. And the first question is, what are the key elements that differentiate super brands from their competitors?
Okay, that's a very good question. So I'm going to start with um, what success means. So in order for you to be super, it means, oh, you are successful in the different things you're doing as a brand. So basically, how successful brands can differentiate themselves from their competitors, one is by focusing on their unique value proposition. So what does that mean? It means, what value are you offering? What's that unique thing that you're giving your audience that they can't get from anywhere else? And you can only understand this by knowing deeply who your target audience is, and also delivering products or services that addresses their needs in a way that no competitor can easily replicate or do that same thing. That's how you can differentiate yourself from every other person in that same market.
Okay, thank you very much. At least it's good to set this up so that we understand that this apply to both big and small brand. So you
Yeah.
need to be ready to provide that unique selling point that makes you or differentiates you from the rest. Thank you very much. What strategies do super brands employ to build and maintain customer loyalty?
Okay, so in terms of maintaining customer loyalty, first of all, you need to create an interaction with your audience. How do you engage with your audience? How do you listen to their feedback, right? If you listen to their feedback and you implement this feedback, a lot of them would want to come back. If they see a brand that takes care of their needs and also listens to them and finds out, okay, what do they need better, what can be changed, and also a brand that provides content and valuable experiences to them, why not? They would want to keep going right to that brand. So it's very essential that you must always engage your customers. Let it be an ongoing communication. And communication is not just you pushing out content every time. Communication has to be both ways. So when you push out content, let them also give feedback and then you listen to their feedback.
Great. Now, in recent times, and this is not just happening in any single part of the world, it's like all over. We've had some challenges, things have changed in the market, and people are wondering how to maneuver in terms of changing market trends and consumers' preferences. So, my question on this is, how do super brands or those who want to aim to go to that height adapt to changing market trends and consumer preferences?
Okay, I think the first thing you must understand as a brand is if you don't change or if you don't what's it called adapt and learn as things keep changing, you'll be left behind. So once you have that at the back of your mind, you know that it's actually a must for you to number one know what is happening, what are the trends, what is the outside world doing in terms of exchange rates, in terms of import export, like basically what's going on around you, right? So as things keep changing, what you need to do is stay agile, right? You need to continue doing your research. And there are times, even when the things around you are changing, you also need to, it takes me back to the previous question, which is you have to listen to what your customers are saying. Yes, the things around you might also be changing. There are times you need to change with it, but there are also times where you need to listen to what your customers are saying. Do they actually want you to change? Because at the end of the day, it's not the things around you that's bringing the money, it's the loyal customers you have that's actually paying you for the service. So, do they
Absolutely.
want you to change? You need to have that at the back of your mind, but always be open to change, always be ready to seize opportunities. And yes, you need to also constantly evolve your products, your services, or even your marketing strategies in order to meet up with how things keep changing, like nationally or even globally.
Okay, that's true. Thank you very much. We have been made to realize that we need to keep agile, be ready to change. Change is the most constant thing in life. And then listen to customer. Yes, there may be things that are moving around and changing, not necessarily for every product. So that is very key. You don't just change for change sake, or because other people are doing some things, you go ahead and do it. So that's very insightful. Thank you very much. Now, the other thing is there are some times that you've done everything possible, yet you still suffer some adversity. So, how would you expect a brand, either super or those that are aiming to become super brand, handle crisis and maintain a positive brand image in the face of adversity?
Hmm. Okay. What you need to understand is in order for you to become successful or if you're just growing, you need to know that facing challenges is what takes you to the next step, right? So if challenges come, you know that it's part of the process of growth. So what needs to happen is, first of all, you need to try to maintain your reputation by being transparent. Oh, for instance, oh, you're having an issue with your website, maybe your developers went away or things like that. First of all, you need to be transparent with your audience. Can you send them emails saying, oh, there's an issue with our website at the moment, your transactions might be slower than normal? So, yes, be transparent with the customers or with your client or even with your investors. It's not when things now go super bad, then you're now like, oh, we have to close down this brand because there's nothing we can do about it. So be open. Number two is be proactive. So what do I mean by proactive? You need to take risk measures. For instance, you own a store. First, do you have fire precautions? Do you have flood precautions? All of those things are part of being proactive. It's not all of a sudden, there's a fire outage and you didn't even have any precautions there, right? That is probably a challenge that could have been avoided or a setback that could have been avoided. So be proactive. And next, you need to be responsive. Okay, this thing happened, right? What can you do almost immediately, right, to ensure that your business continues? Oh, your website is no longer working. Okay, how can you go manual, right? How can you keep delivering your orders or receiving your orders even when that particular challenge happens? Yeah, so things would come. You need to, one, be transparent, be proactive, and then be responsive. And also, if it was a mistake from your end or your team, as a brand, you need to acknowledge that mistake and take that responsibility. And that should be seen in every of your communication that will be going out to your audience, right? That is what will help you demonstrate your commitment to your different customers.
Thank you very much. Challenge is part of life. In fact, is part of growth, because if you want to grow, you have to be able to scale up on your challenges and be transparent. That's very important because it makes customers to feel that you value their opinion and you carry them along, gives them a kind of sense of belonging. Being proactive, definitely that is very necessary. Don't wait until everything is gone south before you start looking out to salvage it. And then be responsive. Yes, it has happened. What then do? You don't throw your towel in the air and give up. You have to salvage the situation. Thank you very much for that beautiful answer. Now, what strategies do super brands use to create memorable and impactful advertising campaigns? Because you still have some of these known super brand that you wonder why do they still continue to advertise. I don't want to advertise for one particular one that we know by mentioning it, but you think it's a household name already and it's something everybody knows and everybody consume why do they continue to advertise? So what are the strategies behind this uh, super brand creating memorable and impactful advertising campaign?
Yes. Sometimes you wonder why some brands do that, but the major thing or one thing they are trying to target is not just okay for, yes, you know about them, but they want to be top of mind. Okay, in order for you to be at the top of your game, to be a super brand, and why brand to continue making adverts, even if they're already known, is they want to be top of your mind. They want it in such a way that, oh, for instance, you're thirsty, you're thinking about Coca-Cola, or you're hungry, you're thinking about, yes, so that is top of mind. So what happens is, so that even if there are other competitors, even in the same sector, because they're constantly in your face, our mind is wonderful. Subconsciously, you tend to remember them faster before you remember any other brand. And that is why, like, and that is what helps create like customer loyalty, and it drives like personalization. And also, when you think of those adverts, for instance, right, they are not just probably pushing the product in your face, they're bringing it from a problem standpoint. For instance, you see a Coke advert where someone is thirsty and is drinking Coca-Cola, right? Um, they brought it from that thirst perspective, which is the problem, which is something that users will relate. So your
Solution.
advertisement needs to constantly be related to the
Solution.
problems, right, that your individuals or audience are facing. So yes, continue to push out those adverts in order for you to make your brand top of mind in everyone that comes across your product. Yes.
Thank you very much. In other words, we have a twin-fold benefit for advertorial because we are keeping it top of mind so that we can push, keep people interested, but we are also providing solution.
Yes.
It's like solution focus strategy kind of. So
Exactly.
I'll be, I will not join you in repeating that name. You have advertised for them free of charge, but it's true what you said. Thank you for that. So how do super brands effectively engage with their target audience through experiential marketing?
Hmm. All right. First of all, knowing your target audience, right, is important. So once you have been able to identify them, what you want to do is um, it still goes back to my previous question, experiential marketing, right? What new ways can they use your products? Okay, what new ways can they use whatever offering you have for them? So once you identify, okay, or maybe there's a specific feature on your app, for instance, that users are not using. What you want to do is to create a marketing that would show, okay, how that feature can be used. And then users will now look at it that, oh, this particular issue I've been having can actually be solved as well by this particular app instead of me having to download another app. Another way you can reach out to them is to leverage social media as much as possible, right? What type of content can you create on your social media that can engage with all of these individuals? And also, can you also hold, for instance, physical events, right? So what physical events helps you to do is to bring all of those loyal customers together, and then they get to feel that, oh, this brand thinks I'm a part of them, right? Oh, I've been working with this brand. It could be from form of maybe a competition or a campaign that can gather people together, right? This helps users to feel like, oh, you were involving them, they're involved in this particular brand, and to help them continue to use your products.
Thank you very much. So we have to devise new ways to make our customers to look at what we have on offer. That is very important. So we've targeted advertisements, putting our brand on top of the customer's mind and all that. Now, what role does feedback, customers' feedback and research, what role does it play for uh, companies that want to build super brand, customers' feedback and research?
Okay. Yes. So in terms of how customer feedback is very important. Um, I answered it in one of the questions or talked about it. Yes, by understanding your customers' feedback, you know, number one, if you should follow the trend or if you should remain. You also know if you are providing value to them. Um, there are times when if you don't listen to your customer, you probably think, oh, your app is top of the world, or your product is top of the world, or your services, all that. But customers have 1,000 other options, right? But if you constantly listen to them, you're going to hear that feedback as to what challenges they are facing. It helps you, especially also if you want to build new features. You get to know, okay, what feature to prioritize or what feature to even build or not even bother building at all, right? Or what new service you need to add to your product. Or if, for instance, you're selling clothes in a particular print, by listening or checking out the comment section alone, probably of your Instagram, you get to find, okay, oh, I love this particular design, but I would like it in, oh, maybe another print, maybe Ankara print, or yes. So listening actually helps you continue to build that brand and continue to build relevance, right? Then I think one last thing, it helps ensure that you you're not just building in a silo, they're actually building something that people want.
Thank you very much. That's actually the word that you are aiming at, customer satisfaction, because when you listen to your customers, you look at their feedback or you make market research as to what the customer wants, the way they want it means you are gearing up to satisfy your customer, which is the key thing. Because no matter what you do, if customers are not satisfied with your product or services, then you'll be on your own. So it's good to uh, welcome this feedback and actively look at what story they are telling us, because each feedback is telling a story. That's very good. Thank you very much. Then, how do brands, super brands, or those that are aiming to go up? Because I have to keep stressing this. The essence of looking at super brands is for us to aspire to make our brands to become super in like manner, and those that are already super want to go higher. So, how do they establish and reinforce their brand's identity over time? Because they didn't just start being super brand overnight. So how do they reinforce that identity that makes them super brand?
Okay, so one way to reinforce a particular brand identity is through storytelling. Um, so storytelling is one tool whereby it helps um, tell or show that particular identity you want for your brand so that others don't define what your brand is, right? So if you don't define what your brand is, other people will define it for you. So one way to push out that identity to them strongly is by storytelling, right? So what storytelling helps you to do is it helps connect you with your customers on an emotional level, right? So by telling stories or sharing advertisements that is not just pushing your brand, right, or pushing your brand in your face, but actually, or from a standpoint of maybe a sample user, for instance, and oh, the person, I don't know if you've seen any of the Nike adverts. They come from a perspective of someone who probably needs to wear their shoe, and like the successes or achievement or the steps or goals the person have. So you understand how over and over that they keep telling that same story. So it helps you know that okay, this is the identity of the brand. Okay, if I am someone that wants to achieve my goal, I know a brand I can relate with, right? So that is very, very important. So your narrative needs to resonate with what your audience aspirations are. So how can you tie that identity you want your brand to have with the daily lives of your audience in such a way that, oh, when they're going through their day-to-day activities, at one point in that day they can remember that, oh, this brand exists because it talks about this particular part of my life.
Thank you very much. In a second, we'll be going on another short break, but I'd like to recognize those who have joined us so far. In fact, I'm enthused by seeing one of my fathers in the Lord, Reverend Emmanuel Oyemomi, is joining us from Lagos. Thank you very much, sir. And our regular follower, Taiwo Ojo from Abuja, Mayor Olabode from Lagos, Chinyere Francisca from Abuja, Dr. Aseyin from Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll go on a short break right now and we'll be back. Please remain connected.
I wanted to give up. I'm done with all the things I'm going through. I'm trying to keep my head up. I try to win, but every time I lose. Should be getting better. I try, but I don't know what to do. Hope this ain't forever. I just wanna make a breakthrough, but something inside said never give up. All of these setbacks are major setups. If I keep on fighting, if I keep on trying, if I aim for the sky, one day things will go my way. One day things will go my way. One day.
Thank you very much. You are welcome back. The message is that we should keep on trying. We should never give up. One day, things will come our way with persistent commitment and our dedication. So definitely our brand will also come to be known as super brand for sure. Now we've talked about many things surrounding super brands. What lesson can emerging brands learn from the success stories of super brands? Because that's part of the essence why we are here. We want to learn from the success story. So what lessons can we learn so that we can also build on that?
Okay. So one thing, or one some major lessons I would say, number one is to be able to reinvent yourself over and over. Yes. So the fact that you probably have only one product doesn't mean that one product cannot be reinvented or recreated into so many ways or used in so many ways. So you need to understand that you have to keep innovating and keep thinking about different things. Right? Keep thinking about different things in order for you to keep growing. Number two is try to have business models that can evolve. So what business models mean is, okay, how do you offer value and then how do you receive remuneration, for instance, right? So how can you have business models that can evolve, can change? For instance, or if you're selling a product that demands one-off payment, okay, how can you think of the situation of the country, of your users, and say, okay, now you can pay small, small. So things like that, right? How can you keep reinventing yourself. Next, how can you invest in research and development? So big brands or successful brands take out time, they invest a lot, right, in research and development. Also, they invest a lot in advertisement. So if you think you're a small brand and oh, you're looking up to like big brands, successful brands out there, just know that yes, you have also have to invest in advertisement, putting yourself out there. Even if you find there are free ways of doing it, there are paid ways of doing it, but yes, you have to constantly put yourself out there. So I'll stop there for now.
Thank you very much. Actually, you've given good tips for our audience. What it means is that it's not only big brands that should advertise. We small ones should also advertise to make sure that we get our brand noticed, we get our products or services noticed. And these days, thank God for technology, we do not have to break the bank to be able to
Yes.
advertise or bring to the knowledge of our consumers or customers our products or services. Social media is there, and we can do a lot of that. And even the research part of it, let us not be daunted when we hear research. It's not like it has to be a very big thing. Normal market survey, you can even send just one of your employee go and find out what is going on in the market, what is the new thing coming, or who is the competitor that's just come into our neighborhood and things like that. So those are things that we normally take like a grandeur thing, but there are small small things that small businesses can also do on their own relatively small scale to achieve the same result. So we must imbibe the marketing aspects. That is the way we will get known, our product will get known. We must also innovate. Innovation is for growth. And these days and age, there's no running from innovation. We must continue to innovate if we don't want to be left behind. So I think we should take that tip. Thank you very much, Dami, for that useful response. So how do super brands create a sense of community and belonging among their customers?
Okay. Yes. So one way you can do that. I think I answered in one of the other questions, right? How you can do that is by listening to them. So when you listen to them, you reply them, communicate to them. So there has to be a two ways message going from you and then coming from them as well. Also, you need to find events that can bring them all together. How can you um, create participation, right, in terms of what your brand is about? And also, yes, there is the normal community. It could be maybe on Telegram, it could be on maybe a Facebook community or WhatsApp, even, right? Are there events or programs or even learnings or that you can, other things you can offer to your customers that can bring them together, right? To form that type of bond, right? So that you can always relate to them on a more personal level. Once you can do that, so you see big brands, for instance, they have competitions that try to involve putting people together in clusters or in networks, so that they know that at the end of the day, they always have people that they can hold their own. Like if any new marketing, any new feature comes out, they know, okay, this group of people, we can test this new feature with them first before we can even give it out to the open audience. So that those are ways you can like create some sort of community among your loyal customers.
Thank you very much. Sometimes it is necessary to segment our market or target audience because, for instance, you go to highbrow area where things are sold in packages and things like that. But if you want to sell the same thing in a less what we call popular areas. You have to devise a
Right.
market, yes, a market segmentation that would achieve that. So, how do super brands effectively segment their target market and tailor their marketing efforts accordingly?
Okay. So in terms of market segmentation, first you need to look at your broader audience and try to understand, okay, what type of audiences do I have? Now you can decide to segment them based on maybe geography, that's location, for instance, or those staying in Nigeria, those staying in Ghana, Kenya, or even within Nigeria, you want to segment them further. Or you can decide to segment them based on maybe income range, right? Or you can decide to segment them based on how many times they've ordered from you or how many times they've used your product. So you need to first of all know the type of audience you're dealing with, and then create how do you want to segment them, understand how you want to segment them, the different options. I've mentioned some, that's location, I've mentioned income. You could also use how many, what's the duration of orders they have for you, or the order for your service, and all of that. So you can use that to segment your audience. Or it could also be based on features, right, that you offer, which people use the service, which people use the other service, right? So understanding these different ways to segment your audience makes it easier. So once you have those ways, then you can have like different maybe newsletters, right, that go to different segments of people. There might be people that have bought from you once, and they didn't buy from you again. So if you have a segment of those type of people, you can easily send campaigns to them that would encourage them to keep patronizing, right? Compared to, okay, people who are frequent buyers, what you want to do is probably, oh, send them maybe discounts, right? And all of those things, right? So segmenting those audiences are very important. So just try to know or list out ways in which you would love to segment them.
Thank you very much. That's very necessary from in today's market. Like you have before, you can only buy milk in tins. Now you have sachet, you have sachet, and it depends on which area you are marketing your product that
Yes.
determines which one you push more. So market segmentation is very key. Thank you for your response on that. With all that we have been examining and that which we know, the competition is rife out there. Competition amongst product people that are producing the things genuinely and those that are even counterfeiting this product. So how do we stay relevant? How do we rise above these waves if we want to talk of super brand? How do they maintain that competitive edge? How do they remain relevant? Because somebody that will just take your product without having the initial cost of building up all this, just imitate or mimic your product, and then the cost is lower, so you can push that product out cheaply, more cheaply than you that have other costs inbuilt. So how do you stay relevant?
Okay. So in the very first question I answered, I mentioned you need to deliver value in such a way that competitors cannot replicate easily, right? And that can only come when you are communicating with your audiences. So for instance, if the audience have complained about the pricing before, you need to probably try to understand the point of view and maybe even communicate the reason for your price point, right? But yes, competitors would definitely come, right? Because people say like there's no new idea under the sun, right? But even if your idea is new, within few months of being in the market, because people see that you're doing successfully well, they try to replicate what you've done or even counterfeit it, right? We've seen a lot of things like that. So how do you stay ahead of those things? Number one is your unique branding, right? So how can you have a brand or unique branding if, for instance, if you have physical products, it could be maybe something hidden, a QR code or something in your branding that can help differentiate counterfeit from the original. An example is maybe Louis Vuitton bags or Zara clothing and everything. They have ways of stitching those bags that no other brand can stitch that same way. And also, what they do as well is they reinforce, I would say, reinforce laws against those people who try to counterfeit their brand. For instance, you see a particular brand doing the same thing you're doing, you can take them to court, right? Sue them, make one or two brands an example, and then other people would probably would desist from doing that same thing, right? So if you know the importance of your brand, you need to put everything in place. So there are things like trademark. So have you trademarked your name, your product? Have you copied? If you're a content person, do you have copyrights on all of those things? Right. So if you have all of those things in place, yes, you can take anyone that counterfeit your product to court, and you can charge them to give you every percentage or every amount they've earned by selling that counterfeit product. Right. So once you understand all of these things, it helps you know um, how to put all these different things in place to avoid all of those things happening.
Okay, thank you very much. In all that we have looked at, we've talked about marketing, customer satisfaction, and this and that. How do we um, understand or measure the effectiveness of all that we have been able to put in, especially as it relates to marketing campaign? How do we know how effective the marketing campaign, the advertisements, and other unique offerings that we have made to our customers?
Okay, I think one of the very obvious ways is, I would say, in the increase to like the metrics you're measuring. That's number one, or increase in your users, increase in your revenue. Is there growth in the company? Are you able to, is your expense lower than the profit you're making? So those are the obvious ways you can see that okay, you're making progress. But yes, there are times whereby those things are not fully visible, especially for smaller brands. There are times where, yes, your expenses is still higher than the revenue you're making on your product. You've not reached that break-even point, right? So ways you can really ensure that everything you're doing matters is um, by what your customers are saying. If your customers enjoy your products and they're constantly giving feedback, testimonials about the use of your product, even without you forcing them to give you those testimonials, they're gladly leaving comments and reviews, right? Then you know that yes, you're actually doing something well, right? But if it's otherwise, then for instance, the comments they're giving are not so great, or no one is even talking about how valuable your product is, you need to think and say, oh, is something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Do I need to continue with this brand? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to change my narrative? You need to understand, you need to know those steps, you need to take at those points. But yes, what are your customers saying? What are your clients saying? And what do you feel deep down, even as the brand owner? If you were a user, would you continue to use your brand? Yes, so all those things help tie up all of the other marketing, all the other campaigns, other things you're doing, right? You need to be able to measure either through your metrics or through what your customers are saying.
Thank you very much. So, if we want to ask you for parting shot on this topic, what would that be? Just few seconds.
Okay. So for me, I would say, in terms of what I'll leave you with, is leadership plays like a significant role in shaping the identity or values of a brand. So if you want a successful brand, you as an individual need to show success, because it's through your success that you get to inspire those on your team, you get to inspire your customers and every other person. You're like setting an example. So how can you show success or be a leader, right, in your different realms of life? You need to keep reading, you need to keep innovating yourself, you need to keep ensuring that you're accumulating knowledge. Find mentors, find role models, people you can keep tapping knowledge from, and also people, find mentees as well, people you can give to. So all of those things tied together to not just your personal brand, but also your business brand as well. So look into yourself, look inward, and yes, you can now spread that value into your company as a whole.
Thank you very much, Dami. You have done wonderfully well yet again. Thank you for the great insights that you have shared with us today. I'm sure many people have benefited from one tip or the other that you have offered to us today. Thank you. I know we always ask for more, and you have actually acceded to that. So if we need to call on you again, please don't feel bothered.
That's very that's
Thank
that's not a problem. Yes.
thank you
Thank
very much. We appreciate you always. Thank you. You've done
yes, yes.
wonderfully well. We'll just move quickly because time is fast spent to our recap section. Actually, along the line, we'll be doing recap. And great things is on the tips that we have been given by our guests today, from being agile, remaining agile on our businesses, be ready to embrace change. We should consider challenge as part of the growth part. We must be transparent, we must be proactive, we must be responsive, we must be customer centric in our approach, because we need to satisfy the customer. As they say, customer is king. So we must listen to them, know what they want, and we must be focused on our attempt to build a super brand. We are able to build a super brand if we do all the necessary things that we are expected to do, which include innovation, innovating different options or different ways and offering that we can make of our product or services. We also have to consider the right business model and make sure that we advertise. There are ways we can advertise that will not hurt our purse. The technology has made that possible for us. And then at every point in time, we must find new ways of reinventing things or coming out with best version of our product or services. We should not relent on our oars, so to say. So we've had all these various tips, and I hope that will make them count, will put them into use straight away, so that we can also be seen as super brand for all our products or services in not too distant a future. So once again, I want to appreciate all those that have joined us this evening. I appreciate our guests for the great insight. We'll continue. If there are things that you want us to uh, give a clearer response or further response to, you can make sure you contact us. We will get the answer for you. So, as a form of conclusion, through the strategic vision, meticulous planning, unwavering dedication, and commitment to innovation with relentless pursuit of excellence, we also can create brands that would become to be known for greatness and help us to achieve our goal. As we reflect on the insights gained today, let us remember that the principles and strategies employed by these super brands are not confined to the realms of business alone. It's not only products, even our services. They serve as blueprints for success in any endeavor, be it personal or professional. So I like to once again appreciate all of you. I see Femi Jayesimi, I see Akinwande, Dr. Aseyin, and our regular Akinyoju Olumide, our regular supporters, Taiwo Ojo, Francesca Cholo from Abuja, and all those followers. We thank you all for being there, for Connect with Comfort. We hope you have gained one or two tips today. Please remember to continue to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like and share our videos. Stay updated with information about the upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook, Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, let us continue to strive for success by creating super brands for our products and services, and surely success will attend all our endeavors. Goodbye for now.